Most Morbid Facts, Parts 200 to 250. Born in 1661, Charles II of Spain was the result of 200 years of inbreeding that intended to strengthen the family line. He was breastfed until the age of 4 and never fully learned how to walk. As an adult, he was completely illiterate and could barely chew or speak due to his deformed jaw. He was so ugly and disfigured that his own wife was terrified of him. A man named Martin Pistorius once endured a 12-year coma even though he was completely aware of his surroundings. He could see and hear everything, including his mother saying she hoped he would die. But he couldn't show any signs of consciousness and was completely trapped with nothing but his thoughts. In 1963, the Bronx Zoo had an exhibit called The Most Dangerous Animal in the World. The entire exhibit was just a mirror. 19-year-old Australian Sam Ballard was a star rugby player until he was dared to eat a garden slug at a team party. The slug ended up infecting him with a condition called rat lungworm, which paralyzed him and ended up killing him 8 years later. In isolation wards where patients die alone, nurses fill gloves with warm water to simulate the touch of their loved ones. A hitchhiking robot that relied on the kindness of strangers to travel the world made it safely across Canada, Germany, and the Netherlands. But just 2 weeks into its American tour, Hitchbot was found in Philadelphia with its arms and head ripped off.
I bet you didn't know about these executions that went horribly wrong. Jesse Tefero, executed in 1990. Jesse killed a police officer and was sentenced to death by the electric chair. With the first jolt of electricity from the electric chair, a 6-inch flame shot out of Jesse's head. He was definitely still alive when this happened. Overall, it took 3 jolts and 7 minutes for Jesse to pass. Next is Jimmy Lee Ray, executed in 1983. He brutally murdered a 3-year-old and was sentenced to be executed by the gas chamber. 8 minutes after the gas was released, the people watching the execution fled the room. He was convulsing, gasping for air, started beating his head against a steel pole in the gas chamber. It was reported he let out 11 deep, gasping moans as he slowly choked to death. It actually later came out that the executioner was intoxicated. He didn't perform it just right, so that led to the agonizing death. Then there was Clayton Lockett, executed in 2014. He brutally ended the life of a 19-year-old girl and was sentenced to have the lethal injection. The Florida prison that executed him used their own weird homemade lethal injection recipe, and it didn't exactly work as intended. When Clayton was injected, he was fine for up to 10 minutes. Then he started rapidly convulsing and was even trying to speak to the paramedics on site. The execution was halted, but 40 minutes after the dose had been injected, Clayton had a fatal heart attack. Then there was Charles Warner, executed in 2015. He assaulted and brutally murdered an 11-month-old girl. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection. Except when the injection hit his veins, he didn't go peacefully. He started screaming at the top of his lungs that it was acid. He told the guards standing by, "My body is on fire." It took 18 minutes for him to pass from the lethal injection. I bet you didn't know that thousands of premature babies were saved by being part of a sideshow circus. Yes, I'm serious. In the early 1900s, they said that premature babies were inferior. They received no proper medical treatment and were left to die. But Dr. Martin Coney made it his mission to change that. It all started with the Coney Island sideshow, where they had the 4-legged women, sword swallowers, the man with a lion face. Among them was premature babies. They were kept in rows of glass incubators, where onlookers could see the tiny premature babies. They had an extensive medical team that kept watch over the babies at all times. No premature baby was ever turned away. Dr. Coney accepted them all, and never at any cost to the parents. How they covered the cost for these babies was the fee people had to say to view them as the sideshow. They also hired wet nurses. Dr. Coney believed that besides just keeping them in a controlled temperature incubator, that a natural diet of breast milk was the way to save these babies. He was very strict on these nurses. If they were caught smoking, drinking, or eating unhealthy, they were cut. Only the healthiest milk for these premature babies. He also had very strict sanitary rules for the facility. The incubator was Martin Coney's own invention, And it was a miracle invention. He made it very well known that race, economic status, or social status had nothing to do with these babies getting care. Any and all premature babies were welcomed, and the names of all the parents were kept anonymous. Dr. Coney also tried to sell and then donate his incubators to hospitals, but they refused to take them. In 1940, he even offered free incubators to the state of New York, and they denied them. Throughout the decades of his career, Dr. Coney saved an estimated 6,500 premature babies and had a success rate of 85%. In 1943, a New York hospital finally opened up a special section just for premature babies, and they started using Dr. Coney's incubators, and they proved to be quite the success. So thanks to Dr. Coney and all his carnival babies, we had the technology we do today for premature born babies.
If you're afraid of bugs, I'm legally obligated to tell you to scroll. It's the only warning you're gonna get. That is an armored bush cricket. They're omnivores, meaning they'll eat anything with or without a pulse. They've been known to climb into birds' nests while the parents are away and attempt to delete the chicks while they're too young to even realize what's happening. And when pressed, the bush cricket will projectile launch its own toxic blood right into the eyes of the enemy. And as a last resort, the satanic cockroach will vomit and evacuate the contents of its stomach. Nothing that's small enough is safe, not even each other. Because whenever they shoot their own blood in self-defense, they immediately start cleaning themselves. Not because they're like neat freaks or anything. It's because if they don't, the smell of fresh blood will attract other bush crickets, and if resources are low, they will eat that one cricket alive. Friendly fire on steroids. Also, they're not actually crickets, they're a subfamily of the katydid, which is apparently how you pronounce it. Not only was I wrong, but I said it wrong confidently. That's the worst kind. You probably already know where they're found. Yup, Australia. No, wait, it's Africa this time. Specifically Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. The more you know, although sometimes I wish I didn't. Something about this bird makes me horny for death. This bird is the Pesquet's parrot, but it's also more appropriately called the Dracula parrot, for obvious reasons. But they don't drink blood. They have other birds for that. They're found in only 2 places in the world. One of them is in the mountainous rainforest of New Guinea. The other's in my personal hell, because I just know this emo big bird's gonna be waiting for me. Speaking of big, this parrot can grow to 1.5 feet long, which is pretty big for a parrot. Just like vultures, they have less feathers on their head. But instead of tossing a dead zebra salad, these parrots eat sticky, syrupy fruits that will get caught in their feathers and mat them down. Basically, their logic is your hair can't get dirty if you're bald. It also makes them look like grunge punk rock pigeons. Some parrots can talk. This one screams Last Resort by Papa Roach. While they're not technically endangered, they are close to it. Mostly because habitat loss and us hunting them. If there's one thing about us, we are every animal's paralysis demon.
The black sheep of this class, feeling trapped inside this maze, yeah. Life is a mystery, right from the start. Life is a wonder, like who you really are. You don't need a plan B, releasing the past. Be proud you're the black sheep, unique as a star. You should get a real job, you tired of always being wrong. Do you think that writing all these songs will make you rich and strong? Deluded, you're actually stupid, clueless and foolish. Don't stop with this music now before you abuse it. Yo, let me stop you there, the problem's here.
911, what is your emergency?
I think someone just broke into my house.
Okay, what is the address, ma'am? And what city? Okay, so someone broke into your house?
Yes, I heard glass break in my bathroom downstairs. I think someone came in through the window.
Okay, do you live alone?
Yes, I do.
And you're in the house now?
Yes, I'm in my bedroom.
Are you safe in there?
I think so. I'm upstairs. The door's locked. I haven't heard anything else.
She's in her bedroom. The door's locked. Okay, and what's your name, ma'am?
Kathy.
So, Kathy, you are upstairs and the break-in happened downstairs.
Yes.
You're not on the same floor?
Yes, I'm upstairs. Someone's in my house.
Okay, hold on one sec. Don't hang up the phone, though. Just stay on the line with me.
Okay, okay.
2-story house, possible break-in downstairs. She is upstairs. Okay, Kathy, I have officers on their way now.
Oh, thank you.
And Kathy, do you have any pets in the house?
I have a cat. I don't know where he is right now, though.
It's okay, Kathy. Don't worry about him. I need you to stay upstairs in your bedroom. I need you to try and stay quiet. Only speak when you are talking to me, okay?
Okay.
Perfect. You're doing great. So just the one cat? No dogs in the house that the officers need to worry about when they get there?
No, there's no dogs, just my cat.
Now, how long has it been since you heard the glass break in your bathroom?
Well, about maybe 5 minutes ago.
Okay, so this was about 5 minutes ago?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to stay calm, Kathy. Help is on the way.
Okay, how long until they'll be here?
They're on their way. Just a few more minutes.
Okay. Oh my God!